Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are digging into a source that you shared with us, one that a lot of people treat like a forbidden text. We're talking about Robert Greene's huge work, The 48 Laws of Power.
It definitely has that reputation.
It does. But we're not here to treat this as some kind of manual for villains. We're decoding it. The whole point today is to pull out those core psychological truths, the golden nuggets you pointed out, and see how these historical principles can actually work for you.
In a modern context, yeah. For social success, workplace success.
Exactly. It's about mastering dynamics, but without, breeding all that resentment.
And that's the key distinction, I think. If you look at these laws as a kind of defensive psychology, instead of an offensive strategy, they become so valuable.
How do you mean?
Well, the point isn't to, crush your enemies. It's about shifting yourself from a place where you're always reacting, always explaining yourself, to a position of deliberate control.
From reacting to controlling, I like that.
So we've pulled out 3 laws that really flip that script. We're moving from constantly chasing people for help or validation to, well, having them chase you.
Okay, so what are they?
We're going to cover Law 4, which is all about strategic silence. Then Law 13, which is about appealing to self-interest. And finally, Law 9, which is just the undeniable power of action over argument.
All right, let's unpack this. I want to start with that idea of strategic silence, Law 4. Always say less than necessary. It's so counterintuitive.
It really is.
The source just immediately zeroes in on this insecurity that drives how most of us talk. We've all been there, right?
Absolutely.
You're nervous in a meeting, or there's that awkward pause, and you feel this pressure to just fill the void. So you start talking a lot.
Right. You want to show off how much you know.
You think talking more signals intelligence.
Yeah.
But Greene argues it's the complete opposite. When you talk too much, you actually seem less secure. You lose your mystery.
And you just dramatically raise the chances of saying something foolish that you can't ever take back.
Exactly.
And this idea of strategic silence, it's a deliberate act. It's not just, not talking. It's a psychological tool.
Tool for what?
For creating pressure.
Yeah.
When you stay silent, especially after you make a strong point or someone asks you for something, it creates this vacuum.
And people hate that.
Human nature cannot stand a conversational vacuum. People will rush to fill it, and when they do, they often reveal their real intentions, their weaknesses.
So they show their hand first.
They show their hand first, whether it's a negotiation or just a team meeting. The person who says the least often looks the most confident, the most in control.
Okay, but couldn't that come off as manipulative? Or even just passive-aggressive? If I state my salary requirement and then just stare at them, isn't that just arrogant?
That's a great question, and that's the difference between an awkward silence and a strategic silence.
Right.
Strategic silence has to be paired with calm, confident body language. You look thoughtful, deliberate, like you're waiting for the correct response, not like you're trying to win a staring contest.
So it's about the presence of control, not just the absence of words.
Exactly, and the alternative, that nervous rambling, is so much worse. It just signals that you aren't even fully committed to your own position.
That makes so much sense in a high-stakes scenario. Let's use that classic example, negotiating your salary. You're at a new job, they've asked for your number. The ineffective way, the way we do it when we're scared, is to say your number, say 150,000, and then you immediately start defending it.
Oh, yeah, the rambling.
Well, I worked so hard at my last job and my rent is high, and I saw on this website that this is the average. You're just handing them ammunition.
You've given them 3 or 4 soft targets to attack. You've just turned a high-value exchange into a plea. You've shown them your weakness, which is your need.
Right. So the Law 4 strategy is just brutal in its simplicity.
It is.
You state the number, 150,000, and then you just stop talking.
You shut up. You wait.
No fidgeting, no nervous explanations.
You just hold your ground. And that silence, that pause, it becomes this palpable force in the room. And a lot of the time, the easiest way for them to break that tension is to just say yes.
Or at least give a much better counteroffer to get the conversation moving again.
Exactly. You won the first round just by letting them feel the weight of their own decision.
This is where it gets really interesting for me. Because controlling the conversation with silence is one thing, but then you have to actually ask for things. And Law 13 completely flips that script.
Yes. Law 13. Appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy or gratitude.
That feels almost cynical.
It can feel that way, but it's really about acknowledging the reality of what motivates people.
Right.
I mean, the biggest mistake we make is thinking people will help us out of, what, pure kindness?
Or because we did them a favor in the past.
Right, because of some sense of obligation. But people are fundamentally self-interested. So if you go to someone and say, hey, remember that huge favor I did for you? Now I need one. They don't feel grateful.
They feel burdened.
They feel burdened. They feel guilt-tripped. And the fastest way to get rid of a debt you don't want to pay is to just say no and avoid the person who's calling it in.
But hold on, that sounds so clinical.
Yeah.
Are we just saying that friendship and loyalty mean nothing? Does this source just completely write off the emotional side of our interactions?
It doesn't write it off. It puts it in its proper place.
Yeah.
Emotions like gratitude, they're temporary, they're finite. Self-interest, on the other hand, is constant. It's renewable.
So emotional capital is a depreciating asset.
That's a perfect way to put it. Once a favor is done, the gratitude starts to fade immediately. But when you appeal to someone's self-interest, you're trading in a currency they always value right now. Fame, money, visibility, saving time.
You're giving them an immediate, tangible gain.
Which is why the mindset shift is so important. You have to stop begging and start trading.
Okay, that's the ultimate hack right there. Stop begging, start trading. So the rule is whenever you ask for something, you have to show the other person what's in it for them.
Right now, not last year, today.
It changes everything about the request, doesn't it? You're not saying, please give me charity. You're saying, here's a mutually beneficial opportunity.
You go from being a drain on their resources to being a source of opportunity.
Let's use a real-world example.
Yeah.
You need help from a busy coworker, a tight deadline.
Okay, yeah. A classic scenario.
The don't example is that desperate email, right? I'm drowning here, please help. And remember, I covered for you last month.
Yes. The colleague reads that, and all they see is a huge, unwelcome drain on their time. And they resent you for bringing up that old debt.
So what's the powerful do example, the one that uses Law 13?
You reframe the entire thing around their gain. You call them and you say, hey, I've got a project that needs a 10-minute lift, but it's going to get your name directly in front of the VP, who I know is looking for a new project lead.
Wow.
See what you did? You left out all your stress, your need, any past history. You offered them a massive potential win visibility for a tiny cost. 10 minutes.
You're trading value, not asking for charity.
And the human brain is just wired to accept a deal that has a clear, immediate benefit. It's an easy yes.
And it fundamentally changes how they see you. You're not the stressed person who needs a bailout anymore. You're the strategic colleague who brings opportunities.
It completely flips the dynamic. Now they see you as someone who creates win-win situations, so they're actually eager to work with you in the future.
Which leads us perfectly into the last one, Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument.
This one is about conserving energy.
Yes, because if Law 13 is how you get people on your side, Law 9 is how you handle it when they're not. And it's about avoiding that huge energy trap. The endless debate.
The endless meeting where nothing gets decided.
Exactly. But arguing feels so good when you know you're right. If I have the data, the logic, why shouldn't I just lay it all out and prove my point? What's the danger in winning a debate?
The danger isn't losing the argument. The danger is winning the argument, but losing the relationship. So you might win the debate with your perfect logic. But what happens? The other person walks away feeling humiliated, resentful, and now they're motivated to undermine you later.
All to satisfy your ego in that one moment.
Precisely. The core lesson here is the antidote. Show, don't tell. Words are cheap. They can be debated endlessly. Action, on the other hand, action is undeniable.
You can't argue with the result.
You can't. And if you show them the result, you save all the energy you would have wasted on arguing, and you sidestep all of their emotional defensiveness. You let the outcome do the talking for you.
Okay, let's nail this down with a team conflict example. Say you're on a project, and teammate insists on using some old buggy software just because it's what they know.
And you know a much faster, better tool.
Right. So the non-productive path is to argue with them for 20 minutes. You show them articles, you list the technical specs.
And they just dig in their heels. Their ego is now attached to their choice. They feel like you're attacking them, not just their idea.
The moment ego gets involved, reason goes out the window.
Completely. So the Law 9 move is to bypass the argument entirely. You don't even say their choice is bad.
You just say something like, okay, interesting. I know a slightly different way. Why don't we test both really quick?
And then you just do it. You quietly run a quick demo with their tool, show the result, then you immediately run the same task with your tool, side by side.
So the result is just visually obvious.
It's undeniable. When they see with their own eyes that your way is 5 times faster, they agree instantly. And they don't have to admit they were wrong because you never accuse them of being wrong.
They just have to acknowledge the better result. You won without a fight.
You won without a fight, you saved everyone's time, and you cemented your reputation as the person who just delivers solutions.
That's the ultimate soft power move. Winning the war without fighting all the exhausting little battles, it makes so much sense.
It does.
So tying this all together for you, the listener who brought these ideas to us, we've just taken 3 really profound laws and turned them into practical modern strategies.
Strategies that fundamentally shift your position in almost any interaction.
Right. First, we saw how strategic silence, Law 4, is your best tool for control. You set the terms by forcing the other side to reveal their hand first.
Then, with Law 13, we completely changed how we ask for help. We stop begging, we stop calling in old debts, we start trading, we appeal directly to self-interest by showing them the immediate win.
You become a source of opportunity, not a burden.
And finally, Law 9 tells us to stop wasting our most precious resource, our energy, in pointless arguments. Don't argue logic, demonstrate results. Action is undeniable.
It's all about gaining that knowledge, that influence, deliberately and effectively.
So building on that theme of action and results, here's a final thought for you to chew on. If results truly are undeniable, if action speaks so much louder than words, consider this. Which areas of your life or your work are you currently spending the most time explaining? Are you explaining why you deserve that promotion, explaining why your idea is better, explaining why a project is behind schedule?
That's a powerful question.
And then ask yourself, how quickly could you eliminate your biggest points of resistance if you shifted that energy from verbal defense to pure demonstration, to showing the finished product, showing the profit, showing the time saved? Are you still talking or are you showing? Because that shift, that is where real lasting influence begins.